in her new kitchen just basically sit on the floor and just want to play with the new stuff that's in it. New closet, I want to put new shelves, I want to do this. Now, kind of different from me. I'm just happy that the house looks nice. I'm happy the house is starting to look a little bit better. Um,
Yeah.
but the for my wife, this is playing real life dollhouse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think this owner wants to play with his new toy. I think he wants to, he doesn't want to rock the boat. I think he wants to trust. He's been around as a minor shareholder before, and he now wants to be at the controls of this thing. So at first, I thought very much he was the catalyst for that coaching change. But if you're an owner of a basketball team, and you could say, and that's the other thing, I can't remember exactly why, but there's something Canadian about Joe Tsai. I forgot about what the Canadian connection is. I know he was raised here, or maybe he came from there, and I don't know. But there is some kind of Canada connection. While I'm talking, maybe you could look that up.
I'll see.
Now Steve Nash is his fucking head coach. When he's sitting around with his billionaire friends, he's like, yeah, we just got rid of this other guy.
Yeah, he is partially Canadian.
Exactly. And you've basically now hired the greatest Canadian, the Canadian Michael Jordan, right? You've put him in, you've basically now made him your head coach. So this makes everyone in terms of trust kind of just sink in, and now it's just, it allows for talent to do what it has to do. And you don't have to think about any of that other stuff. And again, like, I don't think you're not going to hear this type of coverage from anybody else, but the front office will give it to you raw. And the reality is, you now have a coach that could tell Kyrie to shut the fuck up. Jacques Vaughn, as much as I think Sean Marks wanted to, all of the leaks to the press of how well he did in his interview, they handle Jacques Vaughn with kid gloves. And I've been telling you guys for a while, Jacques Vaughn isn't going anywhere, and he's not going to get screwed out of this job. I thought he was going to get the job because he's best friends with Sean Marks. Popovich wasn't coming here partly because, and I think deep down inside, Sean Marks wants to run his team. I think he wants to rule this thing. I think he wants to be the guy. And the moment your mentor comes in, you're no longer the guy. He may be on the bench, he may work for you, but R.C. Buford doesn't tell Popovich what to do. So I don't think that's what he wanted either. I thought Ime Udoka had a better chance of getting the job versus Popovich. And I told everyone that wasn't going to happen. Popovich was not going to take the opportunity from a player, his former player, that he loves like a son. The reason why Jacques Vaughn was one of the first people to get a job off of Popovich's coaching tree is because Popovich made him get the job. Popovich believed in Jacques Vaughn's character as a player and leadership ability as a player, and we've been able to kind of see that with some of these behind-the-scenes talks that Vaughn is having. You could see why Popovich loves him so much. There was no way Popovich was coming here to take that job from Vaughn. So now, being able to fast forward to where we are today, you now have a guy that doesn't make Jacques Vaughn feel like, oh, you hired Ime Udoka over me or passed over. He gets to give the team continuity that it needs. So the technical ability of being a coach, like, Nash doesn't know how to run set a calendar for off-season training, but he's got Vaughn for that. And it's just a perfect kind of, like, it's symmetric. It fits together. Honestly, the only fear I have is just one player physically not being able to do it anymore. I think the only thing that could stop the Nets is injuries, and I trust this guy. So the coach thing, man, I 10 out of 10 for me, man. Like, I got to give Marks credit. This was shrewd. I've said it before that I thought Nash should be our coach, and it's crazy that.
Yeah, it's an amazing prediction. I mean, like this was totally held on. I mean, it's not like this was a rumor that you stuck onto. This was totally under wraps, and you thought that it was going to be you thought would be a good idea, and that's literally. I mean, they basically said in a couple of the articles that I read today. I think Woj and Pooch have both been on it, and it basically seems like once Atkinson was fired in March, this was kind of the guy that they wanted. Like more than it was basically him and Pop, and I think it quickly became kind of more of a Nash game than a Pop game.
Yeah, I'll give you some inside baseball. Back in the day, you could get information out of ticket sales guy back in the Billy King days. Like guys who were selling tickets would tell me, "Look, man, I'm trying to sell you courtside seats. You're gonna love this team that's coming, but I'm gotta be real with you because I don't want you calling me back and being mad. Darren Williams is out of here." How the fuck did ticket sales guys know that Darren Williams was out of here, and why would he be willing to let the most insane Nets Twitter guy know that you're getting rid of Darren Williams? Like, and you could, that place leaked like a sieve. But the moment Sean Marks got in there, the leak stopped. Nobody knew anything, and nobody could guess anything. So you really had to kind of just be on the fringe of finding out stuff. And again, I'm not Woj or nothing. I just live in Brooklyn. I just have some of their friends as my former clients. In that circle of friends talk, there's shit that people know in that world that I'll never know. I'll never be privy to it. But I'm lucky enough to get these little tidbits of information. Nash never was spoken by anybody. Nobody was talking about it. The only way that I thought of Nash as somebody was just from one video of watching him at HSS coaching D'Lo, and it just, like, again, it all comes back to there needs to be one boss. There needs to be one leader. That gets confusing when you have superstars who didn't grow up or didn't develop underneath that leader. It's not a Phil Jackson and Kobe type of relationship. And even that wasn't, Kobe didn't grow up underneath Phil Jackson. I think he started with Del Harris and maybe another coach outside of that. But still, young Kobe learning how to win before he became a megastar, won with Phil Jackson, and he listened to Phil Jackson going forward. Same thing with Jordan. It's hard to plug in a coach unless, he's one of these Svengali coaches that basically just comes into the organization and flips it around. Yeah. But this is just a tremendous hire, man. Like he plugs in, he relates, he gets the respect. The only thing I would fault him for is just not having the championship pedigree, not playing for a coach who can do it. But from what I'm seeing in these playoffs, it's really just more about can the other team stop you? I haven't seen much defense.
I think that's a great point. I actually think it also goes into the other topic that we were going to discuss, even in part. Obviously, we'll go more in depth as the offseason ends up coming up. But there's also this element of Nash played for D'Antoni, obviously, for most of his career and a little bit for Alvin Gentry at the end, and then he obviously was a consultant for the Warriors with Kerr, and Kerr got a lot of his coaching chops from a lot of different people, whether that's Phil Jackson, whether that's Popovich, whoever. That's right. And it'll be interesting to see what Nash's coaching philosophy is, because look, Nash, as we all know, and as me and you have probably done in defending Jason Kidd, Nash was not someone who valued defense a lot. So it looks like I would assume that the Nash Nets will probably double down a bit on offense.
Oh,
As
we're
we
gonna
kind of
beat the brakes off of teams. There is no inclination that from any of the players that Sean Marks have brought in or thought about bringing in. Like, I'm watching these Heat games and I'm watching how, Pat Riley built a team
Yep.
specifically to stop Giannis.
Yep.
People's like, oh, Jay Crowder's a small forward. Jay Crowder is built like he just got home from jail. Jay Crowder looks like all he did was read one Malcolm X book and pump iron for 12 years and came out here like, and he's bullying between him, Butler, and say it for me. I'm sorry. What?
Adebayo.
Excuse me. Bam. Because of Bam, they're able to play this way, and then they have all these centers that come off the bench as well, so they could play big, they could play small, they put a team together that can corral Giannis, and now you've got us, who the team that they're building is not about corralling anybody. It's about that you cannot stop us. Now, I don't know if that's going to work, but I do feel a whole lot better watching Giannis and going, I bet he wish he had KD's jumper in the mid-range so he could just stop when they make that picket fence that's trying to stop him from getting the basket. Wow. I bet he wish he had KD's jumper. I bet he wish he could do a step back right there and or that his 3-point demanded the respect that they can't play this cheap defense that they're playing against the Bucks. So if the philosophy is fuck defense, we got the right coach, we've got the right players, and we've got the right firepower to just make it where the Nets are just going to come out and just beat the brakes off of teams, and I'm here for it. You know what? I'm not going to fight it until I watch it on the court and see it not work. I can't really say I've had my trepidations, but just get ready to see 150-point games, I guess.
My question for you is: do you think, like, all right, so you've been, and this is not even to bring up an Anthony Davis conversation, because I also think until whatever happens to the Lakers, we're gonna have no idea. But like, do you think that, look, like, Nash has spent a ton of time like working out with LeVert, as you mentioned, working out with Dinwiddie. I think LeVert and Dinwiddie are also two guys.
I don't think I've ever seen him working with Dinwiddie. I think the last time I saw him.
Sorry, D'Lo. But like, we definitely know. I mean, I've like seen the videos of him working. I mean, there were videos of him working out that one summer with KD, Kilpatrick, and LeVert.
Yep.
And so I'm curious because, I mean, like, Nash seems like the type of guy that's going to obviously want to play a very offensive, up-tempo type game, and I think he's going to like having a lot of different guards because I think it's just a lot of different tools in the toolbox. And I'm wondering if, in your mind, do you think the hiring of Nash changes at all what they're going to do this offseason? Because, to be honest, like, I see the hiring of Nash, and also from what I've just like heard, and like, I don't know if they're gonna sign or try to trade for a third star. I think like, this is why I've kind of been a little lukewarm on them making a big move, because it just, I don't know how much it makes sense. And I think like Marks is going to want to see all the guys together. And if he can make a trade in whenever the new trade deadline is, it obviously won't be in February. It'll be in April or whenever. Like, I think he'll do something. I think he'll do something then. But I don't know. I think
Sam?
I see them running out. You may call me very naive. I see them kind of running out the
I'm going to answer that. Hold on, let me cut you off. I'm going to answer that and how Nash's relates to Anthony Davis in the second part of this episode. So
Beautiful.
We're going to come back. Wrong sound effect. We're going to come back and we're going to answer that on part 2. So y'all just click over to the next one and I'm going to tell you how Nash is a part of this Anthony Davis thing and how that whole thing fits together.